Sunday the 28th of July. This is the third Empire event of 2024 and it's about 7:15 AM. So one of the rules of Empire is you can't video during time in, and when you video at other times during the event you have to get permission from everybody during the event. So this is one of the easiest times to film and try and show you the scale of the event. This is just one of the what are called encounter tents, and that's another one. Very few players get to see inside those because it's only if you have a past life vision or you happen to be able to go on a small encounter that you get to go in one of these tents that are set up and run by the staff. So we're currently in the staff area. Over there is the very few crew, mostly security, that are awake at the moment. That is our plot and monster areas that we set up. That area there is the tent that you go through if you go onto the battlefield. In fact, we'll go up there. That's the tent you go into if you go on the battlefield and you're monstering. So you get, if you go on the battlefield for the big mass battles, which are one on Saturday and one on Sunday, you have to monster the one you don't play in so that we can keep the numbers to be thousands of people on the battlefield. And that's why you can see huge amounts of, there you go, breastplate armour from what we have provided that we then use for players. In fact, we'll have a quick look in. So this is an area you can't go into if you're a player, but there you go, there's some of our props that we use for our encounters, both on the battlefield and elsewhere. So this area you don't tend to go in very much if you're a player. So if we go down here, God, there's actually more players awake than I thought it'd be at this time in the morning. So if we go back down here, we can see that noise that you're probably hearing now. You can see there is a toilet truck there at the bottom left corner of my screen. It's busy emptying one of the toilet blocks. So on my right, as we go down here, is the out of character courtyard of traders and food caterers. With right in the middle there our marquee that allows you to be able to sit in and just eat your food or just sit and chat out of character. This is a completely out of character area. So there is a whole bunch of caterers, and then round here you can see some of the traders have signs outside so you can see what they are. So irregular props there, there's Dark Blade, Chow's Emporium, LARP, and behind these tents is one of the out of character areas. So if you only have an out of character tent, i.e. a tent you can't put into the in character area because it doesn't look realistic enough to be from our fantasy era, then you have to put it in the out of character area. So here's our games operation desk and main referee marquee. So this is where you pick your pack up at the start of the event, where you go to discuss any admin related issues. Lovely sign, lovely little thing there saying God is closed. And you can see there that our blue caps who run, God, none of them are in at the moment because they do such a good job during the event, they have such long shifts. But you can see we've got a whole set of computers there that you can sit at, and there the blue caps will be at those computers. This is all lost property down this side. We've generated a lot of lost property, a lot of arrows, not surprisingly, because when they're used onto the battlefield, they're then picked up afterwards. first aid over there. And we have a professional first aid team. And then this is accessibility camping. All the other camping. Right. So this is kind of partly out of character area. So let's go and have a quick look at what Anvil is like. So once you pass this point, then if it was time in, i.e. 10 o'clock on a Saturday or Sunday, you would have to be in costume playing your character. So this is kind of the main strip going down. On my right here, this is the nation of Varushka. And if we go down through Varushka, by the way, behind me, so that side is the nation of Urzen, which takes you up to the big marquee right at the top there, that is the Hall of Worlds. You okay to be on camera?
Yeah.
There you go, there is, in fact, there is a Varushkan player who is actually in kit, even though it's not even 7:30 in the morning.
Warm.
Because he says it's warm.
And I'm a terrible keeler.
That's fair enough. So yes, if we go down through Varushka, we got the lovely sign here at the bottom, which is the split of the nations. So we go from Varushka. And then this is, as it kind of says on this sign here, if you can just read it there, welcome to the marches. So this is the nation of the marches. You can see going up there. And we're going to go this way. Yeah, sorry for the bounciness of the video. I hope it doesn't make you too seasick. Unfortunately, I put my stabiliser kit on this morning and it then immediately died because the battery had died in it and I hadn't charged it up properly. So, from Varushka on my left and marches on my right, we are now in the League. Obviously the tents look a lot better when everyone's outside them and they're all in kit. I'm trying to be quite quiet because there are a lot of players who sleep in their in-character tents. So they only have one tent, but it's good enough to be in the in-character area, not the out-of-character area. So there are a lot of players that sleep. I'll show you a quick look at some of the out-of-character areas just so you can see how the scale of the event. And if we carry on, so they don't look very good from the back because we haven't gone down the main road, but that blocky building there is the back of the forge, which is our medieval tavern, and that building there is the back of the Senate building. So we're now in the edges of Navarre. So Navarre is mostly in the woods, but they're so large, they're the largest nation with nearly 700 or around 700 players. They stretch out from the woods into the field here. In fact, actually while we're here, there's Moorish, which is one of the in-character catering establishments. So because it looks good enough to be inside the in-character zone rather than all the out-character traders, we'll just pop quickly into the Senate. I don't think it's going to look very good. So this is the gallery that the public can go in. Here, there is the throne, where the throne sits, the Empress or Emperor can sit, or whatever they wish to call themselves, and that's where all the senators will gather during Senate. Up there, you can see a few blue TARDIS toilets, but you can also see our two much nicer looking in-character toilets. So Directly ahead of me is the Orcish camp. So the Imperial Orcs, where Navarre might be the biggest nation, the Imperial Orcs are the smallest nation. You've got to be pretty hardcore to wear a latex mask all weekend. So there's only about 70 of them. So we'll quickly pop. Oh no, hang about. Have I made a mistake here? No, I don't think this is the Orcish nation. I think that is the bottom. I think Navarre envelop the Orcs around both sides, and that's the bottom entrance into Navarre. You can tell I don't come round this side of the field that much. My apologies. We'll go up the path. So as I said, this is Navarre, who have spread out here and actually have completely enveloped the poor Orcs, being 10 times the size of the Orcish nation. So this is definitively the Orcish nation. So we'll creep in here. I can't imagine how many Orcs that are going to be awake. So that is the Orcish fighting pit. I got some posters there. A lovely little walkway. This is the central area for the Orcs. And all round the back will be Navarre to that entrance I was just at, which is down there. And I'm guessing I could probably go out the back of the Orcish camp. But we won't. We won't go out the back of the Orcish camp into Navarre round there. We'll loop round. So we'll go back out the Orcish. And there's their notice board. Back out the Orcish camp. My hand is getting tired holding this now. You're probably getting seasick listening to it. That's why I'm watching it. You can tell it's only like less than 7:30 in the morning. I'm not fully awake. There, you might, if I just lift it up, get a good view across. All of those are in-character tents. This is all the in-character area, these two fields. Right, so this is the second Navarre entrance, which will go in a second, that will then loop us around the back of the Orcish camp. But before we do that, I'm going to take you up to the top of this gate, which will take us out of the in-character area, and just again show you a bit of the outer character area. So as I said earlier, you can only have a tent in the in-character area if it's in-character looking enough. So you see these beautiful bell tents, this other white canvas tent. But as soon as you hit the outer character area, you can have your car, and you can have your 21st century nylon tent, or whatever it's made of. So here we have a load of outer character tents. Not very exciting, to be fair. Outer character tents, stretching all the way down there. And then if we go up to the main road here, so this is the main road that you go in and out of to arrive on site from near Silverstone. A little sign there saying there's a permanent shower block and toilet block at the bottom of the road. So all the way you can see vehicles going, stretching all the way down, and in actual fact on our right you can't see it, but over here there is another field for cars as well. So this is all down the back of the Navarre camp, and this side is all down the back of the League and Marches, where we've just walked through. So not very exciting, to be fair. So we're going to go back in and we'll go into Navarre. Oh, there's another entrance to Navarre there. We could save ourselves a little bit of time rather than go back to that Navarre entrance there and go into this entrance here. This is obviously a more vehicle entrance to get you into Navarre when it's not time in, so you can set your tent up in the first place. So here we are at the top of Navarre. I've never been here in this section. Right, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go carry on walking down here. You see, as I said earlier, Navarre is the biggest nation, roughly 700 players. I can hear the sounds. Oh, there's a squirrel. Now, I'm sure the squirrel's very hidden. If you saw that, there's a squirrel down there ahead of me. If you saw that squirrel, it is very happy. If players have left a bit of debris on the floor, that the squirrel can get at us. So let's go down. This is effectively one of the main paths in Navarre now. Yeah, it's a glorious sound. Yet another toilet truck emptying the toilets. Obviously, when you've got nearly 4,000 bodies on site, you need to empty the toilets quite regularly. So Navarre continues all the way. There's another entrance onto the main road. Navarre continues all the way that side. We're going to carry on down here. Another roadway down to more Navarre there. So it's only Navarre and Imperial Orcs that are in the woods. And we're going to continue. Yeah, you won't be able to hear me for a second. Let me get past the truck. More Navarre down there by the looks of it. So we're going to go from the biggest nation into the nation that is the second biggest nation, that is only probably 20 or 30 players behind. In fact, they often vie for which is the biggest nation. So ahead of me then, you can see Wintermark. Obviously all of these nations, if you want to know more about these nations, look them up on the Empire Wiki, which is on the Empire website. Because every nation is thematically different. So Navarre, obviously Imperial Orcs are obviously orcs. Navarre are very rangery, wood, brown and green leathers, that type. We're now entering Wintermark, who are more, who are similar to Navarre in some ways, but kind of a more embroidered, patterned edges to their leather. A little bit more, I would call them a little bit more Game of Thronesy actually. Of course, can't show you what any of the players look like on this. Millions of photographs online, so you can see what players are like. And obviously there'll be millions of photographs in this event, you know, but because I'm videoing, I've got to kind of do it now. So, Wintermark goes off down that side. That's the main road again, going back down towards Silverstone. You can just see ahead some cars, and before that a gate. So that is into another outer character field where Wintermark players can put their outer character tents and cars. And then if I stop for a second here, we can scan around. Here's a Wintermark main open area. And up there, in that tree, behind that tree line, is yet another outer character field with more tents. So the thing with the outer character tents, what are we gonna do? We're gonna go to Dawn, which is over there. But I don't want to come back on myself again, so we're going to walk up through the middle of this and see if we can go up this way. What was I saying? Yeah, so the main thing, I was talking about in and out character tents. So you don't have to have both. You can just have one or the other. Obviously, if you just have an outer character tent, a normal 21st century tent, you're going to have no choice but to put it in the outer character area. And the problem might be then that you have no base. You'll have to kind of, in character, you'll have to kind of hang out with other people. If you've only got an in-character tent, that just means you're going to have to sleep in your in-character tent, so you've then got to kind of divide it up or be ready at night to bring out your hidden 21st century sleeping bags or wherever you can sleep. A lot of places like this place here have taverns. Nearly every nation has a tavern, at least one. Because it's a good way of making character money if you're running a tavern. So, but there's a lot of other establishments. You'll see in a minute, we'll go through Brass Coast, you'll see lots of, well, you probably won't see them very well because they'll all be asleep, but you'll see lots of them sell sweets and cakes and stuff. There is a lot of players spend their time selling things for in-character money. Only our bar sells alcohol for out-of-character money due to obviously the British licensing laws. But so here's a good example here, just talking about it. So a pizza seller, so £4 a pizza. There's a little pizza thing. Or you could obviously go to the out-of-character trader and buy out-of-character pizza for real money. But you can buy lots of things for in-character money. Okay, so we're still walking through Wintermark as the second biggest nation, but again, just to show you the not very exciting out of character tents. So this will be where all the Wintermark and Dornish players will have put their cars. I've never been in this field because I'm not in Wintermark or Dawn. So again, we've got here, look at the scale, just out of character vehicles and tents. And we're back into Anvil again, and I can't really show you, they can't really see the main field over that way that we were in earlier. Right, so we're still walking through what I would call the back of Wintermark, and I think we're now into Dawn. So the Dornish nation is the third biggest nation, about 600 odd players, and Dawn is kind of, as thematically, it's kind of nobility, glory, knights, squires, that kind of theme. And as part of that kind of theme, they're really hot on roses, as you can see here from this group. And they have what is called the Glory Square. So they have lots of tournaments and things like that. And so now we're at the top of what is their Glory Square. As you can see that they have a lot of their tents arranged around the Glory Square. Oh, sorry about that. Around the Glory Square. And everyone can see what's going on. And they're all the citizens in Dawn are all in what are called houses. So noble houses, and you're either a noble or you're, I've forgotten the name of it at this time in the morning. If you're not a noble, you're not a serf. What are you? I don't know. I can't remember what they're called. That's very embarrassing. I'm sure there'll be people watching this video banging their heads now. Anyway, nice map of. What's nice about there? You probably can't see it very well. So in character, we are in Anvil, which is probably roughly in the centre of that map. I can't see it off the top of my head, but it's always good to have maps of the where everything is, all the different countries are, because of course when you're going to battle, you need to know what battlefront you're going to. You need to know where the empire's being hemmed in by barbarian orcs and other foreigners, and you need to know where your other nations are compared to yours. So there's the fence lines, so that's Dornish core up as far as there. That's all Dornish, all Dornish. Because as I said, third largest nation with roughly 600. We're going to go down now, out of Dawn, and we're going to go back into the other field. Again, look at all of these, all of the Dornish houses that haven't got frontages onto the Glory Square, but presumably will be selling things. You okay to be on camera? Yeah? So, a good example of someone who is... Are you selling food, or are you just...
I'm just setting up the house.
So it's just your house, is it?
Yeah, right now.
And what house is that?
Well, there's two here. There's House Radius and House Gold Vein.
Oh, there you go. So two. Thank you for being on camera. So again, obviously, people aren't fully dressed yet, mostly, because it's a few hours till time in. Time is not till 10 o'clock. So those houses are so big, they're not even selling stuff. They've just got a big house to keep stuff. It's very nice people to go on camera when, like, it's this time in the morning and like they're not ready for, they're not at their best. So now we're exiting the bottom of Dawn. Brass Coast at the moment. Oops, I have stretched out a bit. So that boundary there goes from Dawn to Brass Coast, which is another nation. Some toilet blocks, and then our military council. So one of the functions that we run as the civil service, which is run by non-player characters, staff like myself, is the military council, where all of the player generals who have been elected come in and make tactical decisions. So there's their map of, and these represent our imperial armies that they own and the Orcish and foreign armies. And they've got some signs up here. So this tent is absolutely rammed during military council and other meetings with generals, and the meeting is chaired by a colleague of mine, the military council herald. So Brass Coast, there's the edge of Brass Coast, the ones that haven't managed to make it into the main area. Next event, E4, we're actually swapping. We're tweaking a little bit of the layout to allow Brass Coast to all be together. So this will be the last time you'll see this exact layout. So now we're back on the main field, Anvil. So we started over there, we walked that way, up to the top there, through into those trees, all the way around there, and then back here. So before we go into Brass Coast there, this main strip here, which takes us back down to, you can just see the edge of the tavern there, and beyond that will be the marches and the League and Vushka. Before we go down, these are all out of character traders, but they've got in character tents, so they're allowed in here, so they're selling props, costume, weapons for out of character money. Now we have a lot of out of character traders. Before we go there, we'll have a quick look this way. So we have a whole set of in-character organisations here. The Anvil Library, thousands of booklets you can buy in character. The Imperial offices that support our new throne. We've only had a throne for a couple of events now. The Magistrates and Militia, which is our kind of legal department. So the magistrates are non-player characters, they're staff, but the militia are all players. And then we have where I work in the hub, which is the civil service base. And if we go in the hub for a second, that's the hub extension, which is for Synod, because it's so big. If we go in the hub, which again, this is solid during time in, you can see all the posters around the walls for all the different bodies of state. So we have Senate, Citizens Posting Board, where anyone can put a poster up, the Conclave, which is for mages, the Imperial Citizens. Someone appears to have removed the lovely maps that were here. Maybe they've been secured overnight. Here's one of the lovely maps. Other maps, it shows you how detailed. I really have to show you where we've been walking around. So we started here. We walked down here through Vushka, went through the marches and League, up on the road there, went into Orcs, went up the top here, out, in, back into Vushka, down into Wintermark, into Dawn, and so on. Where are we? Right, so Bors, which is where all the big resources are traded and where they have auctions of other little resources, and then Synod, which is the religious aspect, the Way as it's called, with the 7 virtues, and Military Council, which obviously we were just in a second ago. So back out again. Oh, and there's, just see from that sign here, so that big marquee there is the academy where children are. So we have about roughly 100 children go to the academy. It's completely voluntary, but they absolutely love it. But there are a whole set of rules on, depending on the age of the child, about what you can do as a parent if you're bringing your kids. But the kids actually love it because they've got classes and all sorts of different things. And we have a whole bunch of staff who give lessons so the kids learn how to pass their 2 tests, which is the citizenship test and the combat test. So you can't go on the battlefield unless you've done your citizenship test and you've passed the combat test. And I think you have to be 13. You need to double check this online for the latest rules. The citizenship test is allows the kids to actually take full part in the game as if they were an adult, with all the skills and the other things you get as a character. I think you can take that at any age, but you have difficulty if you were very young. But we've had some very young children take it, pass it, understand it's a game, understand how the game works, and take full part, and then do things like talk to 200 mages in Conclave. So now we're walking up the main track through Brass Coast. So hopefully this long video is giving you a kind of flavour for what size the event is. We're just sub 4,000 people now, but it's going up pretty much every event. And as I mentioned earlier, Brass Coast often sells lots of things, but I think that seems to be our theatre advert. But there's all sorts of other tracks down here as well. I'm just going up the main path here. I'll try and quickly show you some of the other packs. And I'll apologise again for the footage. I was meant to do this on a stabiliser, and my stabiliser has run out of power, very annoyingly, just at the one time I want to use it. So there's a track all the way down there with more Brass Coast in it. 10 nations, so you choose which nation you want to choose. There's no stats difference. You don't get any advantage or disadvantage that way. It's all thematically how they look, different music, different styles of music, different politics, different costume. And now we're exiting Brass Coast. So we have here the Anvil Hospital, which is where a lot of the in-character, I shouldn't call them first aiders, the in-character people, citizens who wish to help you when you come back through the Sentinel Gate. So that is the kind of portal, the Stargate, that takes you to the edges of the Empire for all of the battles. So we'll quickly pop through here, and this is just one of the kind of fields. So the battles all take place way over there normally, in there. So you can actually spend your time the weekend at an event doing a lot of battles, because it's not just the big battles, there's also small skirmishes. By small skirmishes I mean hundreds of people. But also there's 1,000 players probably who never even go on the battlefield, you know, and Anvil's just happening all around them when people are still on the battlefield. So you don't have to come here if you're just interested in combat. But if you are interested in combat, well, several thousand people on the battlefield for the 2 big battles, plus all the little skirmishes. So now we are entering Highguard, I believe, which is one of the middle-sized nations. Gets a bit careful here, I've got to make sure I remember all my nations now. Oh, War Scout, another of our civil service roles. So civil service, so a staff role, telling you information about when the skirmishes are and what happens if you go through the Sentinel Gate. And so yes, definitely Highguard here. And ahead of me you can probably see the Regio, which is our kind of magical Stonehenge ritual circle where you can do more powerful magics if you've taken the relevant skills as a mage. That building there is our staff building where we have a referee and our special effects team, because we do smoke and noise and stuff around the Regio when you're doing your rituals. Hall of Worlds. Hall of Worlds is where all the mages meet in character. This tent is not here. You can't just walk into this tent like I'm doing now. In character, you have to cast a special spell called Operate Portal to get in here. So this is absolutely rammed during Conclave with about 300 mages on Friday night and about 220 mages last night, Saturday night. Right, and now we are left Highguard, and we are now going down through Urzan, which is one of the smaller nations, and it's a very kind of magical nation. It's full of mages who live in spires in the mountains in character. So there, they've got posters and stuff, obviously very magic orientated, because most of them are mages. And then this is one of the 2 tracks down from them, I believe. And there's another pathway there. You see on that side there. Right. And I think we're pretty much about to end my tour now, because we're approaching the edges of Urzan, and you can see ahead of me again will be Varushka, and beyond them the marches. So that's kind of crossing my point where we came in. So just to orientate you, what I'll do is I'll go to the bottom here, I'll turn right so we go to the edge of the in-character zone again, and you'll see the games operation desk, refs and first aid ahead of me. So since I didn't introduce myself at the start, my name is Paul Wilder. I am a volunteer at Profound Decisions and have been for decades, and my job in character is a civil servant. I'm overseer of Imperial elections, and out of character I promote Empire between events. So I go to kit fairs like What's Your Game in Gloucester in February, and and LARPCon at the start of March, both of which I fully recommend if you've never been to them, because it's full of traders selling stuff out of character, no role playing. So there we are, back at the games operation desk where you pick back up at the start of the event. And I hope that video was useful to you. Take care.